Hey there friends, it's Marie here with another video. Today I want to share off the new trend from Tonic Studios, and this one is White Wonderland. So I know about the middle of the year, a lot of companies come out with sort of their Christmas themed things looking ahead to Christmas. This is sort of Tonic's take on it. It's a lot of blues, silvers, grays, so you can use this for winter cards as well as Christmas themed projects. There is a 6x6 paper pad that I'm showing you here, full of cardstock. So you get some gray textured cardstock, you get some of that blue pearlescent, and there's some silver here that's got some texture in it, some vertical lines or horizontal, depending on which way you orient the page. And then there is some mirror cardstock in here, and it's a really gorgeous blue mirror cardstock. So lots of pretty colors of paper right here in the 6x6 pad. The 6x6 is really great if you want to cut them up and make mini albums. I've done that in the past. But if you want a bigger piece of paper, you can always go ahead and buy the sheets of 8.5 by 11, and they have all of these different specialty cardstocks, the pearlescent card stock that's textured, and the mirror cardstock that you can buy individual packages of if you don't want the mixed 6x6 pad. There's also another glimmer or a glitter marker, and I don't know if I've shared these too much on my channel, but I want to do a video on them coming up soon. But there's a lot of different things you can do with these. So you can write with them like a marker, you can color die cuts, you can color different things. They're also water soluble, so you can mix them with a little bit of water and paint with them as well. Now in this new trend, there's also two new colors of Glacier paste, which is really fun and exciting because I love this stuff. I love that there's this sparkly white, and I love the color of that sort of grayish blue. Now here are two colors of embossing powder. These go great with the theme, the trend. There's this blue sparkly color, and then there's this silver sparkly color, and I'll be using that in a card for today's video. Also with this trend, there are these Nuvo diamond ink pads. You get some really basic colors with these ink pads, and I really like that. You get a clear mark embossing pad, a gray, and a black, and these are really great basic colors that you can use on all of your stamping. So I love those colors included in this trend. And there are some more dots, Nuvo drops. So you get a jewel drop here, which is a blue one. These dry a little bit translucent. You get your dream drop, which has sort of a pearlescent finish on it when it dries. You get this grayish blue stone drop. Now these have a little bit of texture in them. And then for the regular Nuvo drop here, it's a blue color that's got sort of a metallic shine and finish to it. And I have done videos in the past on Nuvo drops, kind of telling what they are and what the difference between each one of them are. So I'll try to remember to link that. I sometimes forget the links, so if I forget it, I'm sorry. It's on my channel, and I'll try to remember to include that. There's also this little bottle of sparkle spray. This stuff is really sparkly, really beautiful, and again, it's in the blue that matches this trend. There's also two new embellishment mousse. I love the mousse, and I love that we get a white color here with the embellishment mousse and this dark blue with the expanding mousse. I think they're both really pretty. Now the embellishment mousse you can just brush on, dries flat with sort of a shiny finish. The expanding mousse, you could stencil that on and then hit it with your heat tool and it expands just like the name suggests. So that one is really fun to play with. You can also pick up this pack of confetti and sequins and glitter. They're all coordinated with their colors. You get two really fine glitter colors here. You get a bottle of sequins and a bottle of these snowflake confetti pieces, which I think are really pretty. Those would go great in a winter themed shaker card. So those are all the pretties from this new trend. I'm going to go ahead and use some of this stuff to make a card now. I was going for sort of a Christmas themed card, and it turned out to be sort of a general card that you can use any time of year, but that kind of shows that this is a versatile trend. You can use this for Christmas themed items, but the colors are so pretty on their own, you can use them any time of year. I'm going ahead and taping some of this blue pearlescent cardstock onto my stencil, and I do like to tape it from the back side so that I can stencil on the front without that tape getting in the way. I can stencil the whole front of my card now, and also when I peel that tape off of my cardstock, if it ripped a little bit, the card front is still going to be fine. The rip is going to be on the back, and it's not going to affect my card at all. So I'm going to open up my Glacier paste here. Now when you get your Glacier paste and you open it up for the first time, there's this little foil seal on the top that just helps it from drying out. Sometimes I like to take my little craft knife here and just cut that off. You don't have to completely pull it off if you don't want to. You can kind of leave it on there, fold it closed, and then put the lid on, and that's going to help keep your Glacier paste from drying out a little bit more. I prefer to just have it out of the way, so I personally just peel it off, but I do use my Glacier paste quite a bit, so if I use it up before it dries out, it's really not a problem. But if you're gonna have it sitting on your shelf or something, maybe keep that foil on top. I've honestly never had problems with any of my Glacier paste drying out, so I don't know if that is a problem for you guys or not. So I've got that completely stenciled over my stencil, and I'm going to carefully peel that off, and you can see how beautiful this Glacier paste is on top of that pearlescent cardstock. Now it looks really white right now. It's going to kind of dry back and be a little bit more subtle, but you're going to get that shiny design, and it's really pretty. Now with your stencils and your media tool, just take them over to the sink, wash them with a little bit of warm water, and they'll wash up really nice. So I'm opening up these little Nuvo diamond ink pads here. I'm not using the black or the gray today, but I am going to use that clear mark embossing ink. I'm going to show you how you can use that with your stamps and emboss with some of that embossing powder that's included with this trend. So what I'm doing here is I've got all of my stamps loaded on my Misty Door. I went ahead and prepped my cardstock with my little embossing powder bag. Just puts a little bit of powder down on your cardstock so it eliminates some of that static cling, so that when you sprinkle on your embossing powder, it sticks only where that sticky ink has stamped. And that's what I'm doing right now. I've added a little bit of that embossing ink onto my stamps, pressing it onto my paper, making sure I get a good impression. I didn't show it on camera, but I did also stamp a second time. That's the great thing with your Misty. It keeps all of your paper and stamps in place so that you can stamp again and not get that double stamped look. It's going to be precise. So I'm sprinkling on my embossing powder, and this is going to stick to that sticky ink that I've stamped with. So the ink you can't really see very well. You might see some of those outlines from my stamps, but that's just because I didn't clean the ink off my stamps the last time I used it. That's not going to affect the embossing powder at all. It's still going to stick and it's going to emboss. You're not going to see any of that black ink coming in from behind. So once you have your ink all stuck on there, you've tapped off the extra, put it back in your bottle, you can take your heat tool and just melt that powder and give it a second or two to cool down and dry, and then you can go ahead and work with your stamped images. I'm doing a little bit of watercoloring today using my Zig Clean Color Real brush markers, and I love using these markers with an embossed stamp because those raised edges of the embossed lines really helps to hold in your watercolors. So it's a little tip if you want to do a little bit of quick watercoloring, don't want to worry too much about staying in the lines, just emboss your stamp image first and then go ahead and watercolor. It's going to help you stay within the lines, and it's really going to look pretty when I'm done with this with that silver lining that's sparkly on the stamped images. So I do want to say I'm using a little bit of Bristol Smooth cardstock here. That is the best cardstock to use with Zig markers. And after I've got a little bit of color down, I'm using my Nuvo water brush. I'm adding a little water to the pigment here that I've put down, and I'm just pulling that color out. So it's darkest on the bottom of the petals, and then I'm pulling it out to the edges of the petals where it's a little bit lighter. And these zigs, you can also go in and add several more layers of different colors and things. So I've went ahead, I've watercolored all of these pieces and fussy cut them out, and I'm just going to arrange them on my card now. So as I was watercoloring and die cutting this sentiment, I had my stenciled background set over to the side so it could dry. By the time I got back to it, it was pretty much dry. So if you put a thinner layer of that Glacier paste on, it doesn't take forever for it to dry. But if you want to go ahead and make a bunch of backgrounds, maybe before you go to bed, wake up in the morning, they'll all be dry, and you can go ahead and make them into cards if you want to pre-make some backgrounds. That's a great way to do it as well. So here's that background. Like I said, it kind of dried back, not quite as white, but it's still got that really shiny design in the background, and I love it. I'm just going to go ahead and arrange all of my pieces on the front of my card, put them where I want them to go, kind of visually see what I want it to look like. And once I kind of have an idea, I'll go ahead and glue the pieces down. I did pop that front flower up with a little bit of foam adhesive. The rest is just this liquid adhesive. And if you want all of your pieces to stay exactly where you put it before gluing them down, I've seen a few friends use some press and seal, put it over your arrangement, peel it off, and then put the glue on the back, and then put it back down onto your card front. I think that's a brilliant idea to kind of keep your arrangement together and just glue it all down so you don't have to try to remember where you had everything. Anyway, I've got my arrangement done. Everything's glued down onto my card front. I love all that shine from this card. It's a super shiny card. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere it to a card base. And I'm going to put it on my card base using some foam adhesive. So I'm using scrapbook.com's foam adhesive. I love this stuff. This is the 2-inch wide foam adhesive. Cuts really nicely. The backing paper peels off like a dream. Has become some of my favorite foam adhesive. So I'm just going to stick that onto my card base, and that finishes the card. So I hope you liked a look at this trend from Tonic Studios White Wonderland. You can use it for Christmas. You can use it for cards in general. Anyway, have a great day, guys. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, comment, like, share, do all the things. I'll catch you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye.